Oh yeah, clearly God thought about you when he was making me. Yeah, because he dispatched me from heaven as the cheerleader of who you are supposed to be. Yeah, the promises of God on your life. That is why I don't take prayer for granted. That is why I don't take seeking God for granted or living a surrendered life. Living a surrendered life is not quite an easy life. It is a life, it is a sacrificial life where you must be able to do what the sender told you to do and to work how the sender wants you to work in order to be able to materialize and, you know, bring to birth the visions that are in people's minds. Now, for me, I'm that, a cheerleader to cheerlead on your dreams, your visions, and the things that you want to be able to achieve. And then number two, I am the referee of relationships. Yeah, not a cheerleader, because a cheerleader will be like, yeah, create better relationships, you know, make better relationships. There are so many conventional counselors and conventional relationship coaches out there that will actually cheerlead you into, yes, building and creating relationships and all that. But when it comes to the five gifts of the church, when it comes to the pastors, the apostles, the preachers, the prophets, them, you know, all those, I think God made me an apostle of relationships. Like, I just do not want to see people disrespecting others. I do not want to see people who are not loyal to others. I do not want to see people who are not accepting to others. So for me, I call you out and tell you what the problem is and tell you how to rectify it. But the end is, I'm still cheerleading on you building lasting marriages and lasting relationships, because I know it is possible. Very, very possible. But even when I'm cheerleading you to create those relationships, I know that some of us actually make bad decisions and get into relationships that we are not supposed to get into, and marriages that we are not supposed to get into. Now, that will be for another day. I'm not going to dig that hole right now. I know some of you are like, yeah, that's the Bahati. Yeah, but that Bahati is stopping now, because right now I want to be able to cheerlead on your growth. I am going to be so huge on your growth. This is a framework that I'm sharing, and it's a very simple framework. It is a guarantee for growth, okay? The guarantee for growth, that if you do these things, I guarantee you, you are going to grow. If you do these things, the three things that we are going to talk about, I guarantee you, you are going to grow. And what is growth? Because it's possible that you didn't watch the last episode, but I can be able to share it here. It is very simple. I don't have a definition. You can Google the definition for growth. But for me, growth is progress. For me, growth is, is being able to put one foot in front of the other. For me, growth is knowing, being self-aware and aware about where you are right now, and knowing that there is more to life, knowing that this is not it, knowing that you can do better, knowing that you can be healthier, knowing that you can bring up your children better, you can create a better marriage, knowing that you can make more money, knowing that you can grow spiritually to different levels, knowing that you can serve God in a different way, knowing there is more impact, there is more transformation, knowing that your life was not called to be dormant, your life was not called for consumption, it was called for contribution, and then you being able to bridge that gap between where you are to where you want to go. Now, that does not happen overnight. It is not 1 year. It is not 10 years. It is not, for some of us, we have been on this journey of growth for the past 20-something years. 20-something years. And let me tell you, it gets sweeter and sweeter. I was just thinking to myself today, and I was actually in the bathroom, and I was like, if anyone asked me, I think I would tell them that, yes, I have lived life. Yes, I have gone through growth. But I think the times that I celebrate more than anything are the past 2 years of my life. The past 2 years. Now, why do I say the past 2 years of my life, or even the past 1 year? Like, the more you grow, the more certain things fall off, the more pretense falls off, the more people pleasing falls off, the more focused you get, the more you streamline what you're doing, the more lighter you get, the more happier you get, the more, as in, life gets sweeter. Believe me. life gets sweeter. If you are in your 20s, you are in your 30s, believe me, life gets sweeter and it gets better. But it gets better only when you are growing. Now, that is the hurting, the painful truth, that it only gets better if you are growing, not growing in body, because your body is supposed to grow. You're supposed to grow, I mean, at 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, your body is supposed to grow. But this other growth that we are talking about, the progress, where there is potential inside of you and you are progressing and you are moving, you are in the process of becoming, it is not automatic. It is not automatic. You must be able to know that growth is not promised, it is just pursued. When you pursue something, you chase it. When you pursue something, you are intentional. When you pursue something, you are focused on it. How many of us have ever chased something and you are not focused on what you're chasing, but you're looking at everything else that you're not chasing? You're looking at everything else that you are not chasing. That means you are delaying. That means you're not running at the same speed. Because if you're looking here and looking here, you're not clearly looking at your target. You're not focused at your target. That means there has to be intentionality in your growth. Intentionality. That I'm going to focus on this. That I am coming from here and I am going here. And this journey is going to take, I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how many zigzags it's going to take, because it's never a linear journey that I'm going to grow from growth to growth to growth. Sometimes we are shattered and we fall back and we are supposed to rise again. Sometimes we go back to scratch and then we are supposed to rise again. But we not rise from scratch, we rise from experience. Because all the experiences that you have immersed in as you grow, you still carry them. Okay, so this growth is not promised. No one says that, oh, it is promised and it has to be fulfilled, whether you want it, whether you don't want it, it has to be fulfilled. No, this is something that you pursue. If you are not intentional, then you are not going to grow. Okay? You will not grow and you will only go in circles, and that is painful. If you are very honest with yourself, I want to ask you a question. Are you growing or you're going in circles? For the past, when you look at the past 5 years of your life, when you look at the past 10 years of your life, some of you even feel very painful by me just mentioning 5 years of your life, 10 years of your life. Some of us stopped growing when we went through a heartbreak. Some of us stopped growing when our marriage hit the rock bottom. Some of us stopped growing when we just didn't know the next step to take and we just didn't, find it useful to ask around or to find out. Some of us stopped growing when we became the worst critics of our own lives and everyone around us. So we do not find anyone that we can trust. We think everyone is an imposter, everyone is a fraud, everyone is as in you are very cynical, and that cynicism has looped you in and you are in a vicious cycle of poverty. You are in a vicious cycle of regrets. You're in a vicious cycle of living a joke instead of living a life. Okay? And I need us to be very honest with ourselves. If you looked at the past 2 years of your life, if you looked at whatever amount of years, we are all at different levels in our lives. But look back and I want to ask you, does that signify growth? Or you even threw in a towel at some point in your life? Or you even feel like you are dead and there's nothing, you're living in a dead zone and nothing can grow in the dead zone? Or you feel like God has long forgotten about you, or you feel that your dreams are not even valid and you think other people's dreams are valid, and sometimes you even ask yourself, what do dreams even mean? What do visions even mean? What does even growth mean? I think those people are just copying Western concepts. Let me tell you, it's not anything about Western concepts. It's not, because I have tested firsthand what it means to dream without the means to get to an end. I know what it means, and I have shared all my stories with you. The kinds of life that I have lived, the kind of life that I have lived, the kind of low life that I have lived, the kind of rock bottoms that I have hit. And to see that I am the one speaking right now, and to see that I can even say these words, and to see that I can live a happy life, and to see that I can live the kind of life which I even think it's just 1% of what God intentioned for me, that means I can't wait for the next 30 years of my life. Guys, you are about to see what God does in my life. You have not seen a thing. If some of you have looked at me and you've maybe followed me for the past 15 or 10 years or 5 years, and you're thinking, oh, Bahati, oh my God, let me tell you, you have not seen not even 0.05 or 0.0 whatever it is that God can do with my life. I'm just excited. I'm just super excited about the next 20, 30, 40 years of my life. They excite me so much. Why? Because there's going to be a lot of unveiling. There's going to be, you are going to see a different Bahati. And at some point you're going to tell me, you woman, I don't know what you eat. I don't know what you're up to. I don't know what you're chasing. But what I know is the same God that you believe in, I want to believe in. If growth has gotten you to this, I want to grow. So if you lack any motivation, if people around you are not growing, look at me and come with me on this journey. I promise you, it's going to be a different story. 1 year from now, it's going to be a different story. And it's not even going to be 1 year, but 6 months from now. The kind of positivity, the kind of positive attitude, the kind of energy, the way you will step on the ground, the kind of confidence that you will have, the kind of self-esteem that you will, the kind of owning your life and living on your own terms, the kind of, I am the one, okay? I am the one, I'm the exception. I'm not supposed to live like everyone else. And that's the kind of life I want you to live. And I hope that you can want it for yourself. Okay? So, number one, we've said that growth is not promised. It is not. You moving from where you are to where you have to be, it has to be very intentional. People start with very, very small steps. Small steps of, I know of women, for example, I'll just give an example of my mother. I've said so many times how much, total poverty we were brought up in. And, at some point where she thinks that, I think my children deserve a better life. And this better life is not even a life of luxury. It is a life where they can eat a meal, where they can have lunch and they can have supper, where they can go to school. I need to be able to do something. By the time a woman wakes up and says that, I want to be able to make chapatis, let me do some karukaru. Karukaru, for those of you that don't know karukaru, that is crisps from cassava, yeah, and let me make some mandazi, let me make, and now I have like 2 schools. Back then it was Christian Academy, where you get it. That's where I went for my primary, and then it was St. John's. Now St. John's, she would come to Boyogere Christian Academy for break time to sell stuff at break time, and then she would go to St. John's at lunchtime to sell. And so most of the times we would wake up very early in the morning before we go to school. I remember we would go to where you get it, around the market, the shops. We would go there at around 4:30, 4 a.m., 4:35. We would go there. There was a specific lady that used to open very early in the morning. She used to sell oil, and so some of the oils she used to sell, I think some of it was the dark oil and all those oils, and then she used to sell mini and all those things. So we would wake up very early in the morning, go buy that oil, and then because then we have to go back, we had the dough for chapati was already made, but now we had to make sure that because I was the only help that she had, okay? All my other sisters and siblings were young, so now I had to make sure that I do these things with her. I would make sure that the mandazi are done, done. I would make sure that the karu I have been able to cut it and chop it. You know, I would make sure that, you know, but just imagine, that means in huge quantities. By the time she has to take it to school to sell it, and sometimes I had to actually do the packing, because sometimes when we had no time, she would not pack, but if we had time, we would have all those buveras where we would just put in, and then, you know, just pat and burn, pat and burn, pat and burn. But remember, I'm doing all these things, and then I have to rush and go to school so that she can remain, you know, wrapping up and finishing up, so that she can come and come to school at lunchtime. And you know, you go to school, you're tired, you definitely you're not hungry because you've been able to eat the mandasi and everything, but you're tired because you slept late and you woke up very early in the morning, but you have to perform like any other child at school. And I remember I went through my primary as a high performer. I was topping my class, you know, and I was very active in the extracurricular activities, the school competition, dancing, Christmas carols, whatever it is. But that is the kind of life when, you know, a parent says that, you know what, I do not want, because she had experienced times where we would even sleep hungry, where we didn't have anything to eat. At some point, I remember our grandmother brought ghee, you know, someone bringing ghee in a bucket, and that is the ghee that is going to act like sauce for the whole month. That means you have to just get a spoonful and warm it and put in onions and put in salt and put in water, and then you have to put on posho, and then you have to, now that is the sauce, the ghee and the water and the onions and the salt, and then you have to eat posho with that. And so, but when I mean, she used to think about so many things, you know, so many things to do. I remember at some point she even volunteered to go and dig, you know, somewhere and be able to, you know, get some money. At some point she even, you know, decided to say, you know what, let me go and look for a restaurant and, you know, and just serve food in the restaurant, you know. And how much is she getting? Because she would say she would not even be given lunch at the restaurant, but she would be given, I think it used to be like 1,000 or 2,000 a day to just make sure. And so she would have to foot back. She would foot to the restaurant, to town, and she would foot back, and she would just use that 2,000 to make sure that there's something to eat at home. But someone who never gives up. Someone who never gives up. In this generation, I see so many people that will even ask you, but what should I do? But what should I do? And guess what? The person that is asking has data. The person that is asking has airtime. And you're asking yourself, where did you get the airtime and the data? And I'm not asking in a bad heart, but by the time you have data, you can load data every day to send messages to people, to borrow you money, to help you, how your child has no school fees. I never saw my mother beg for school fees for anyone. I never saw. And I think that is the same spirit, because you should ask yourself, what spirit are you putting into your children? What kind of behavior are you rubbing onto them? Are you rubbing onto them a begging spirit for the rest of their lives, that everyone will be running away from them, that whenever they send a WhatsApp to someone, they will be blocked because they are always begging, that like they have no value to give, they have nothing that they can do that can actually turn into money, even if it means washing people's clothes on the village? That can look like low life, but that is the life that brought me up. That is the life that has made me who I am, and I do not forget that kind of life. So you realize that it is not just about the people. I'm not just talking about the people that, oh, you are employed and you know you have a job and you know all those things. Yes, that is a good level, but I'm saying from the grassroots, when you totally have nothing, you should be able to be very intentional and say, where do I give value? These days you can give value in so many ways. People are looking for people that can even just do content for them. Do you know that just understanding the social media dynamics and helping people with their businesses, how much does that take? You have airtime and you have data to Google your friends and to have multiple girlfriends, and you're saying you're jobless in this generation? Shame upon you. Like seriously. If I am talking to you and you are the kind that is even still in your mother's house and you're looking for handouts, or in your parents' house and you're looking for handouts from your parents, like you do not have a brain and you are above 20 years old, shame upon you. They bought you a phone and you have data and you're chatting with all your girlfriends, but you cannot have the sense to research how TikTok works, how Instagram works, how you can be able to promote businesses, how you can be able to market businesses, how you can be able, you would move. How many shop owners want to put their shops on internet? How many people do not even know what it means? How many pastors don't even know what it means to create personal brands and to push their content and to do all these things? This is knowledge that you do not have to go to school for. But just like I said, growth is pursued. It is not promised. It is intentional. Even if you are working and you have a job and you have a 9 to 5, what are you doing with the rest of your hours? Did you know that you can create a side hustle? You can become a public speaker. You can become a coach. Do you know that you can become a social media expert? Do you know that you can get a skill with under $100? With under $100 is what? 370. Under that money, you can actually get a skill. And some of us, you don't even need to pay that money. You can teach yourself those skills. But growth is intentional. Being intentional is having a big picture of what you want, of having the vision that we talked about, the kind of life that you want, and knowing where you are and being able to bridge that and being able to be intentional and say, what must I do in order to get to where I want to be able to get? Okay, so are you stuck between your potential and your progress? Are you stuck? When you look at, even the Bible talks about that Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and with man. Like it was continuous. He grew in favor. Now, you don't grow in favor without doing certain things. No, favor is active. Yeah, it is active. And it is active, and then it is by sight. Yeah, that when someone looks at you, they would actually favor you. Okay, so when you talk about the concept of growth, growth is divine. Growth is godly. God wants us to progress, not just stay stuck in knowing that, oh, I have the potential. How many of us actually, when you look at yourself, even when you talk about yourself, you're like, the things that I can do, you know it because you have a witness. Your gut is not lying to you. Your brain is not lying to you. You are actually a superpower. You are a hero. You are a mega person if you decided to execute on it, to act on it, to do something about it, to bridge this gap between where you are right now and where you want to be. Even if you reached 10% of that journey, you will be a totally different person. Even if you reached 5% of that journey, you'll be a totally different person. If you don't know where to start, join the 100 days, because that's going to be an eye-opener for you when we go through the framework and draw a roadmap and know that this is where you want to be and come up with a clear picture. Because when you are alone, you do things, you take things for granted. When you are alone, you feel like, will they even come to pass? When you're alone, when I'm working together with you, I do not even give you the leeway. I do not give you the leeway to think otherwise, but to know that you are actually going to hit your goal. It might not be now, it might not be tomorrow, but you will eventually hit it. So can you stay consistent? Can you stay showing up? Can you do the things that you are supposed to do in order to get to the life that you want to get? Okay, so I don't want you to stay stuck, okay? I don't want you to stay stuck. Growth must be intentional. It does not happen by accident. You must plan it. You must prioritize it, and you must pursue it. Okay, if it's about starting a business, I think let's just give an example of starting a business. You're in a place where you have no business, but you have some small capital, and you're saying that, you know what, I want to be able to get, my picture is, I'm seeing a big shop. My picture is, for example, when I told you about my story when I was in Kayunga, and you know, when I looked at that shop was quite huge. At some point, maybe you will see some pictures. It was quite huge, but there was no stock, there was nothing. And so sometimes I would wait for people to come that we're going to take airtime and, you know, and cards and whatever, phones to the villages. And then I would tell them, leave some merchandise with me. I sell it for you. When you come back, you'll actually gather your money. And so most of the times they would leave me actually with their merchandise. They would leave me with their merchandise. They come back, I've sold a bit for them, and then they would go ahead and just go ahead and take their money and go on their merry way. But one thing it taught me, because I had to be very intentional. We had to be very intentional how we operate without knowing what, you know, the future is actually going to be. Because remember, we said you have to prioritize it. So now we went into you know, cutting budgets, and I was like, you know what, in order for this shop to grow, I cannot be making the money and eating the money. That means I'm envisioning a shop that is filled with stock. I'm seated in a shop, but the way I am dressed, if you saw me, I'm a very beautiful person. Even when I was young, I was very beautiful, and I would have my hair combed out. I would be putting on my nice clothes. But remember, I am coming from, I sleep on a mat, and I have to move, you know, I have to skip some, you know, water, you know, sources and what, in order to get to the shop. And then get in the shop, I don't have breakfast, I don't have lunch, I don't have supper, but I have to sit in the shop and make sure that, you know, whatever is there, a little, maybe we bought some airtime, or maybe we bought some, whatever it is, but we sell that, but there is no big margin. So that means you have to pay the rent, you have to feed, but again, in order to feed, that means you have to eat something minimal, and that is where Tonyira would actually come in. So Tonyira comes in, it's saving some money. That's being intentional. That's knowing that the end game is having a full shop. The end game is having more merchandise, more stock. But again, I cannot wait for capital to come from externally. What if I can be able to work hard and make sure that we reinvest this money? So we worked on reinvestment as much as possible. We lived on the bare minimum, like the bare minimum. If the Juni and the Katunda were the ones that were available, we'd make sure that the Juni and the Katunda is what we eat, so that we can have all the money going back into airtime, or all the money going back into whatever stock was there, so that at least you can see that there's actually more increment. And then to be able to you know, we were pure money pinchers, because we'll be like, okay, we'll calculate how much do we need to keep every day in order to make the rent, how much would we keep every day in order to keep the power on, how much would we keep every day in order to, you know, to keep having the water, you know, definitely would buy the jerry cans and all that and everything. So we would be very intentional that what we are looking at, actually what we were looking at was having franchises or having multiple shops. Yeah, but we are in this one shop that has nothing completely and has very minimal, very minimal, very little. If you would say maybe like airtime worth 100,000, and you know, so you have to work with that, because you're not expecting any other money from external sources. So you have to be very intentional. Just like I said, you are intentional. When growth is intentional, you prioritize it. You plan for it, and then you pursue it. You do not just wait and see what happens, but you pursue it. Okay, so I want to ask you, and the questions, I will need you to be very to engage your brain and be able to answer them. What's your personal growth plan? What is your personal growth plan? What is your business growth plan? What is your marriage growth plan? Whatever it is that you want to grow, you must have a plan for it. Our plan for that business was reinvestment. Like everything that comes out must go back in. And let me tell you, everything went back in, and it went back in, and it went back in, and it went back in that we would deny ourselves of any kind of, like, we're not going to buy a cloth, and then some days we would not even go, because our church was in Mukono and we were in Kayunga. We'll be like, you know what, we're not going to go to church, we'll find a church in Kayunga to just make sure that we do not use a lot of transport. Like, we cut off everything. Now that is a plan. That is the plan, that we must be able to cut budget, we must be able to reinvest every coin that actually comes in, and then we must be able to treat our customers like kings, okay, like kings, okay. And then we must be able to find new horizons. Where do we get the cheapest products? Where do we get, you know, where can we go? So you realize that we had actually a plan for our growth, for the growth of that business. And so we made sure that we saw that plan into executing. Who is mentoring you, stretching you, and pouring into you? I hope that you can vividly answer these questions. What is your growth plan? If you have nothing, I'm inviting you into the 100 days of growth, okay? So we can have a growth plan for you, for whatever you want to be able to hit before the end of this year. Before the end of this year, we want to celebrate. December must be a month of celebration about the things that we have been able to achieve. I want you to be a different person in December, and it is very possible. But that's going to come from 100 days of stretch, 100 days of growth, 100 days of mega growth, okay? So tell me, what is your plan for growth right now, and who is mentoring you? Because so many of us take it upon ourselves, and I know that it's possible, but in this generation it's very, very, very important that someone mentors you, someone that has gone the way. Leadership, or there's a quote in leadership that says, a leader is one that has gone the way, knows the way, and leads the way. Now your mentor should be, and this is something that I'm very serious about, your mentor should be the person that you look up to, a person that inspires you, a person that motivates you, a person that is also on the learning curve, a person that has not arrived, a person that shows up every day, a person that is not content with where they are. That should be a mentor that is going to shake your routine, that is going to shake your habits, that is going to challenge your norms, and that is going to stretch you into growth. So you should be able to choose your mentor very, very, very carefully, because that person has to be able to challenge you, and they have to be able to still stay on the growth trajectory, okay? So I need you to be able to ask yourself those questions, and the practical tips here, you should be able to be focused. For example, you can be able to focus and say, I'm going to join a mentorship, or I'm going to join an accountability group, or I'm going to join, that is going to help in your growth. And you can be able to schedule your reflection time every week and say, okay, every Friday, can I be able to go through what have I done this week that is very intentional according to, you know, if I want to grow, what have I done this week for me to be able, what kind of mentorship groups have I attended? Am I signing up for the accelerated mentorship group? Am I signing up for accelerated mentorship group? Is for those that want to be coaches, public speakers, and trainers, okay? And so we coach them in personal branding, in digital marketing, in content creation, in course creation, digital products, just to make sure that they set up businesses and they run their business. So if you feel a calling to be a coach, to be a counselor, to be a public speaker, to be a trainer, a consultant, that is what you should be able to sign up for. However, if you have goals and you want to be able to hit them, if you made a vision board, if you didn't make a vision board but you want to set goals, realistic goals, and you want to be able to move towards them, you've tried it on your own and it has failed, and you want to get into an accountability group, that is where 100 days of mega growth, 100 days of stretching come in, so that we will go from the costing to the comfort zone. And I mean, the costing and the comfort zone, we go into the challenge zone. So the 100 days is a challenge, is a season to stretch you, to challenge you, to push you into your greatness, to be able to create the roadmaps, the things that you must be able to follow, the steps that you must be able to follow in order to get to there. So that is for everyone that craves personal growth, that craves a change in their lives, that wants to overhaul their lives, that wants to shake their routines, that wants to go back to their why, that wants to be able to find passion again, and find purpose, and know their purpose, and unveil their purpose. That is for you, okay? So just WhatsApp me, the number is on the screen. WhatsApp me the word 100 days, and I will make sure 100 days, and I will make sure that I send you the next tape, okay? So I need you to be able to, to listen and learn. I need you to be able to study, to show up, and to be consistent in whatever that you do, because what is going to come out of this is you will start making decisions based on where you're going, not where you have been. So many of us are making decisions based on where we have been. We are making decisions based on bitterness. We're making decisions based on regret. We're making decisions based on what didn't work. We are making decisions based on trauma. We are making decisions based on who said what. We are making decisions, but the moment we base our decisions on that does not propel us into the future. You want to be propelled into the future, to be attracted into the future, then you start making decisions based on where you are going. 2 Timothy 2 says that study to show yourself approved. Study to show yourself approved. Proverbs 1:5 says, let the wise listen and add to their learning. Let the wise listen and add to their learning. That means learning never stops, not for anyone. Whether you're 70, and I would want to tell you this, you are not too late, because there's some of you that are listening to me and you are around 50 years old, you're around 60 years old, and you're thinking, no, I think this is a call going to the younger generation, to the younger. You will be surprised in the mentorship class for those that are studying to be coaches and on the certification program. Let me tell you, we have people that are 50 and people that are 60 that are pursuing public speaking, coaching, and and consultancy, and they are very serious about what they want and they are making it. Okay, so I don't want you to think and say, oh, I am too late. You are never too late. Remember, I told you, your 50s, your 60s, your 70s should be the sweetest years of your life, because there is more self-awareness, because there is more, you're no longer relying on people to make certain decisions in your life. So I need you to stay woke. I want you to think that it is too late and it is too late. No. Okay, so the second thing that I want us to talk about is growth must be useful. It must be very useful. If your growth does not serve people, solve problems, and fulfill your assignment, it is not useful. It is just noise. Yeah, if your growth, because there is a lot of information now. This is the other thing. We usually mistake information constipation for growth. I have said it. You know where to find me. Information constipation is when you are consuming too much information, because then there is a lot. Everyone now is a guru on social media. Everyone. So now when you take everything as the gospel truth, you're screenshotting this, you're taking that, and you're learning this. Your brain is being lied to that it is learning. It is actually not learning. It is not learning. You're making it overwhelmed. That is it. You are making it overwhelmed. If you really, really want to learn, okay, you must be able to be useful. That whatever growth you are going through is serving people, is solving problems, and it is fulfilling the assignment and the calling on your life. And it is not just noise, okay? It is not just noise. Social media can have so much noise. I will tell you, there is a lot of noise on social media. There is a lot of repetition. There is a lot of copy and paste. Everyone is saying something. And let me tell you, we are in an era where ChatGPT has made it so easy for people to write anything that they feel like, and it is going to mislead so many people, because it is going to sound so convincing. It is going to sound like it is the right thing to say. It is going to sound, and guess what? Everyone is on ChatGPT prompting and getting answers and copying the answers and putting them on social media, and people's brains are no longer working. People's brains are no longer functioning. And now I only ask myself, what is going to become of us 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Clearly, the world, I mean, the people that have done that have done this, yet it is advancement, it is technology, but it is robbing us of our creativity. And the people that are going to flourish are people that can still engage their heads, that can still be creative, that can still think. So I need you to be one of those people. All right? So don't just take courses, apply them. Don't just attend accelerated mentorship and just say, oh, I attended accelerated mentorship. I see people signing up sometimes just to be close to me. And I'm like, no, that is not enough. Your growth must be useful, okay? And apply whatever you have learned. Like the 100 days, I have made it very practical. It's not, there's a bit of theory, but I will tell you theory is like 20%. The 80% is practical. You must be able to apply and grow, okay? Don't just speak. Whenever you're speaking, if you're a speaker, your words should be transformational, okay? Don't just build a brand. Make sure that you know that this is something that is going to outlive me, so I must dedicate a time, I must dedicate the concentration and the level of focus to be able to do this, because we are saying that it must yield results, and those results must be useful. Your growth must be useful, okay? And when you look at Matthew, it says that let your light shine so before men, and that they may see your good works. Like, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works. That means it is doing something, it is useful. That be doers of the word. That is James 1:22. Be doers. Do not just say and say and say and say. So many of us, we like saying and saying and saying, just like it's a world of gurus, world of experts, world of whatever it is. So we are saying and saying and saying, and some of us are not taking time to actually be doers in our lives, okay? So I need you to be able to tell me what skill or revelation you've learned that's changing how you serve others. What skill, what thought are you learning, or revelation that is changing how you serve others? Because the moment you know that, the moment your growth is useful, how it's going to help is that it's going to have clarity on what you are called to solve. You're going to have clarity on what you are called to solve. And then you're going to focus on impact-driven goals, not just hustle and, being too busy, but you're going to focus on what is impactful and what is working. Remember, your growth must be intentional, number one. Number two, it must be useful. You cannot just grow for the sake. That in Luganda we call it muwawa. You cannot just grow for the sake. You cannot say, oh, I'm learning. You must learn and apply. Those are the things that we did at degree level, bachelor's level. You're learning, and then after that you get a job and you can't do even a zero of it. You can't. That is not the kind of life that we want to be able to live, okay? So I need you to grow with me, but I need us to be very intentional, and I need us to know that your growth must be very useful. So as you come for the 100 days, whatever you're growing into is going to be useful. It is going to serve, it is going to help, it is going to better other people. Be the testament, be the inspiration, be the motivation. As in, when someone else looks at you, that you don't even have to say anything, by the virtue of the fact that they are close to you, that they are looking up to you, that it will stir them up. They will never remain the same again. You don't need to speak a lot. You don't need to preach. You don't need to give too many examples. As in, do what you do the best way that you know how to do, and everyone else that is following will be like, you know what, if there's anyone that I'm learning from, I am learning from that person. That means that your growth is useful. Whatever books you're reading, whatever mentorship you have joined, whoever is mentoring you, whatever podcasts you're listening to, whatever it is that you're feeding your mind, you have actually grown to a place that you are growing other people, and that is the ultimate goal. Okay, let's go to condition number 3. Remember, we're talking about conditions of growth, and conditions number 3, it must be continual. It must go on. It cannot stop. You cannot say that, you know what, I joined the mentorship, or I joined the 100 days of growth, and all of a sudden, yeah, that's it. No, it has to be. This must be like you lighting a fire, inside of you. And that is why I will tell you, for everyone that has been successful coming from the mentorship is one that has gained the fire. They came, not knowing what to expect. The mentorship, however, it flamed the fire inside of them, and now the fire cannot be quenched. And now they are out there in the world doing the things that they know how to do, and what they don't know how to do, they are stretching themselves, and you can clearly see that they are growth is continuous, that they are continuously learning, that they're continuously seeing new things, that they're continuously saying yes, even amidst fear. They're continuously saying, I can learn on job. They're continuously saying, I can do this. I mean, I know I'm afraid. I know I don't have what it takes, but I can master this technique. And that is the differentiator between those that make it and those that don't make it. That is what differentiates the people that actually influence and motivate and inspire others and those that are not inspiring at all. So it must be continuous. And the key point here is growth is a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. It is something that you must think about when you sleep, when you eat, wherever you go, whether you're on a vacation, whether you're taking your children to hospital, whether you're working on your marriage, whether, as in, it must be continuous, okay? And it must be a lifestyle. If you stop growing, you start declining, even in your purpose. If you stop growing, you start declining. If you stop growing, you start dying. If you stop growing, you stop challenging yourself. And that means you stay in the comfort zone. And remember what we talked about, the comfort zone, a place where nothing is achieved. There is nothing new achieved. You just, the old, but again, the old, you're also going down the drain, but you actually don't know. So it is a lifestyle. You must say, I mean, this is a commitment that is going to be forever. It is forever. Okay? If you think there is something more useful, then go do it. If you think growth is useful, then commit to it for the rest of your life. Whether it is to listen daily, I've challenged the people in the mentorship to do the things that I have done for the longest time, for the past more than 15 years. I read daily, I listen daily, and listening enlarges and expands my perspective on things. Okay, I write daily because I don't want to forget about the things that I learn. So I write daily, I journal daily. Okay, I pray daily. And even if it's writing, when it comes to books and what, I am still writing daily. There is contribution that I am making. It is so. That means it is a continuous journey for me. There is no day, and I will tell you, there is no day in my life in the past 15 years where I woke up and I didn't write, I didn't read, I didn't listen, I didn't pray, there is no day. I cannot think of a day. Even on the days where, I was weak, even on the days where I had given birth, even on the days where you would think clearly nothing, I have been a student every single day. I actually study more than the people I mentor. I read more than the people I mentor. I write more than the people I mentor. Because I must be able to be on my A game. Okay, so everything grows. Just like we said, a human being grows daily, a tree grows daily, even when we don't see it. So your next level requires a new version of you. Every day your perspective changes with the more you read. Your perspective changes the more you listen. The way you look at things, the way you comprehend things, the way you understand things changes when you continue writing. So I need you to be able to take it on as a daily challenge. You commit to it. Just like they say, health is a lifestyle. You must commit to a healthy lifestyle of drinking water, of eating, balanced diet, of working out certain amounts of time in a day. Like, it is a lifestyle. You do it day in, day out. You cannot say, I worked out last month, so I am done for the whole of this year. Oh, I ate well last month, so I am done for the whole of this year. Oh, no, you don't handle it like that. What you do is you do it in smaller chunks every day, but you are closing in the gap and you're making it, and it is beautiful to even watch. Okay, so forget what is behind you, strain for what is forward. Okay, and what you are working towards, that is ahead of you. Press on and press on. Remember, we said that your growth must be continuous. Now, if you stay bragging about the achievements of yesterday, that means you are telling your mind that was good and we will never do anything like that. But the moment you say, you know what, yesterday was good, but let me tell you, there is better tomorrow. tomorrow. So if my tomorrow is going to be better, then let me embrace this like my life counts on it. Let me embrace this like everything I do counts on it, because I know that indeed everything is going to be better than it was. So I'm choosing to forget the past. I'm not just boasting in the past, but I am reaching out. And then Proverbs 4:18 says, the path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter. Okay, and it says that his mercies are new every morning. Even God's mercies are continuous. Even God's love is like everything good about God is continuous. If you want to grow, if you want to be better, if you want to serve better, if you want to help better, if you want to do business better, if you want to do marriage better, yeah, you must be able to grow. And this is not a one-sided thing. Don't just push it to the woman to go to the conferences, to go to the seminars, to go to for counseling. You must be able to go at it, the two of you. The more time you spend together, the more time you spend nurturing your marriage, is the more it becomes more vibrant. Just think about it. Even if you just took time and say that, you know what, we're going to revive the rhythm. What rhythm did we have when we were dating? One thing that has actually kept us going and kept us so strong together with Tim is not losing the rhythm of what we did when we were dating, when we were friends and when we were dating. We would meet every day, we would make sure that we eat together. Every day we would make sure that we pray together. Every day we would make sure that we joke and laugh and just do the long talks, you know, and share our dreams, our vulnerability, me asking for help, him telling me about his dreams. And so you did not lose the spark, or your marriage is not on the verge of death. You just lost the rhythm. Can you recreate the rhythm? Because this is a daily thing. You commit to it daily, okay? Day in, day out, you commit to it and say, you know what, when we come back, we're going to find time just for ourselves. Even when we have children, we'll talk about us. We'll talk about how our day was. We'll talk about the dreams that we have. We'll remind each other, you know, our position in each other's lives, how important we are. We will, you know, read the Bible together, or we'll read a book together, or we'll watch a movie together. Those look like small things, but you are making a commitment, a lifestyle commitment that you're not going to break no matter what, and that is going to keep you growing stronger and stronger and stronger. So growth is the same way, that if you want to be able to grow, and you know that I want to be able to hit this kind of money in my business, or I want to be able to, you know, start multiple businesses, or I want to grow in this career, or I want to grow in this job, you must be able, you have to adapt a lifestyle and say, every single day, these are things that I'm going to do on a daily. I'm going to sharpen my mind. I'm going to share what I feel. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to collaborate with others. I'm going to do A, B, C, and D. Let me tell you that change is going to be very visible. It is going to be very visible. It's okay? And the question is here is, what one area must you commit to in growing this week? Can be this week, can be this month, can be this quarter, but what one area are you committing to grow in this week? So I need you to be able to highlight an area. Is it an area of finding your purpose? Is it an area of financial growth? What area are you committing to? And then make sure that you actually get someone to be accountable to, share it with someone so that you can be able to go ahead and grow in that area. But one thing I know for sure, that when you grow in that lifestyle and making it a lifestyle, is you will have a renewed hunger for mastery. You will have a renewed hunger for mastery. That has never gone away from me. Every day I have a hunger for mastery. I have a hunger for better frameworks. I have a hunger for solving problems. I have a hunger for making this world a better place, for helping people help us. And then you will have elevated performance and long-term relevance, okay? That is elevated performance and long-term relevance. How much do you want that? I mean, I would want to be relevant all the days of my life, and then I would want to have elevated performance. I have witnessed that. I have tested that. It is possible, and I hope that you know that it is possible for you too. If you can only know that growth is very, very intentional, it is not an accident, and that you can be able to take over and know that it can be continuous, and you must know that it has to be useful. It is intentional, it is useful, and it is continuous. Those are conditions that guarantee growth. if you are able to say to me that, you know what, I am committing to those 3, believe me, you are going to be very, very far. You are going to be very, very far. So I need you to, if you need to rewatch this program, make sure that you rewatch it on YouTube. If you need to share it with someone, share it with someone, because that is the only way we're going to impact as many people as possible. I'm counting on you, and I'm looking at you and hoping and praying that you take your life so seriously and you give yourself a chance to grow and become better than you've ever been in your life. I love you, and may the grace of the Lord cover you the rest of your life.